Garena is on the winning side of the game. It is the market leader and pioneer of esports in Southeast Asia. However, in Southeast Asia, it sees difficulty in garnering support and establishing this industry. So as the market leader, how can Garena help and take responsibility to establish this industry? Good afternoon, esteemed judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Giselle, and along with me are my teammates Colin, Jonathan, and Nigel. We are from Team Spectrum Consulting, and today we have 3 strategies for you, which encompasses the essence of a gamer. Firstly, to play more, watch more, and buy more in order to establish the esport in Southeast Asian market, and also to reinforce the position of Garena in Southeast Asia.
We begin this afternoon by first looking at what Garena does. And Garena offers a wide range of free-to-play games, such as online multiplayer battle arena games, as well as first-person shooters.
In addition, Garena provides products that enhances the gaming experience, such as Garena Plus, as well as B-Talk. As you can see, Garena offers a wide range of free-to-play games and enhances it with other products.
Next, we look at the value chain of the online gaming industry, and we can see that Garena lies in the middle as an online games publisher. They are a leading platform currently in Southeast Asia. In addition to this, they buy licenses from famous developers such as Riot Games, as well as EA Sports, to provide our users games such as League of Legends, as well as FIFA Online 3.
In addition, Garena organizes esports leagues, such as GPL, and it is a fully professional league in Southeast Asia with 16 teams, and it is the first of its kind. So we can see that Garena is one of the strongest driving factor of esports in Southeast Asia.
Next up, we look at the revenue model of Garena, and we can see that Garena actually garners revenues from gamers at the top left-hand corner through their in-game purchases. The in-game purchase revenue from gamers are split amongst Garena as well as the publishers. In turn, publishers also invest in Garena in organizing events, and through this, they recoup their investment through the in-game purchases made by gamers.
And the next revenue channels we see is actually from companies in 2 forms. Firstly, sponsorships as well as online advertisements. So we can see that Garena earns its revenue through 3 main channels of gamers, publishers, as well as companies.
So what is the online gaming industry like currently? And we look at some of the key drivers in online gaming in Southeast Asia and see that the PC internet penetration rate as well as the mobile internet penetration rate will see strong growth over the next 5 years. This indicates very strong growth prospects where Garena is in the online gaming industry.
And we see that we look at Garena's revenue growth since 2011 has experienced a strong increase with a CAGR of 171%. And the question now is, how should Garena capitalize on these optimal conditions in order to monetize on its online gaming platforms in order to move forward?
So with this, we look at the monetization challenge. And to begin looking at this, we first analyze who the users are in the industry. And we can see that there are generally a group of non-gamers firstly, where we are unable to monetize any revenues from them. Moving up the chain, we see the leisure gamers are the group of customers with low monetization as they make smaller in-game purchases, and as a result, there are lower investment from publishers.
Lastly, we see esport enthusiasts with higher in-game purchases, which in turn have higher investments from publishers, as well as sponsorships and online advertisements. And we can see that double of the esport enthusiasts, double the amount actually spent as compared to leisure gamer. And we will look at the conversion of non-gamer to leisure gamer, from leisure gamers to esport enthusiasts is key to Garena's monetization strategy.
So with this, we now can identify the challenge of actually converting players up the value chain. And firstly, in order to convert non-gamers to leisure gamers, the current obstacle is the negative perception of online gaming as well as esports in the industry, with esports being something related to being an unhealthy addiction and something which promotes violence and overall does not add any skills to one's career development in the future.
And the inhibitor for the conversion from leisure gamer to esport enthusiast is actually the perception that esports is simply just a game and should not be taken seriously. So the question now is, how can Garena convert more non-gamers to leisure gamers and then to esport enthusiasts by overcoming these inhibitors?
In addition to this challenge, Garena also currently faces an internal challenge of actually monetizing the current users of its applications. As you can see, only 10% of its gamers are paying gamers currently.
And this is due to the reason that Garena's largest game, League of Legends, sees a low conversion rate of 3.75%, which is significantly lower than the average game in the market. So the question now is, how can Garena increase the conversion rate of its most popular game, League of Legends?
And with this, we then can bring you to our executive summary of the key issue of having Garena to increase the monetization of its current online gaming platforms, as well as events going forward. And the three sub-issues we face are, firstly, how can we convert non-gamers to leisure gamers? Secondly, how can we convert more leisure gamers to esports enthusiasts? And lastly, how can we increase the conversion and monetization of its current apps, such as League of Legends?
And with that, we have our three strategies of firstly, play more by resolving the negative perception. Secondly, watch more by establishing personal connections. And lastly, to buy more by introducing League of Legends premium accounts.
So our first strategy, we are aiming to get users to play more by involving them to resolve the negative perception. So what first is the negative perception in Southeast Asia? As we mentioned earlier, it is one which relates esports to an unhealthy addiction, which promotes violence and generally does not have transferable skills. Therefore, with this, we know that we need to change the perception of esports. And in order to do this, we have considered three different alternatives. Firstly, giving a scholarship for amateur players. Secondly, organizing talk shows with esports players. And lastly, having sponsored research to educate the general public.
And we assess these three options that we have across the three criteria, such as relatability, sensationability, and lastly, difficulty of replication. And with that, we've zoomed into scholarship for amateur players as the most ideal option for Garena to help change the perception of Southeast Asians towards online gaming.
Now that we have identified that we need a scholarship program, we need to know how and who we are going to target. For this, we'll be spotting the rising esports talents in Southeast Asia, and we want to target this group of people who have demographics similar to that of a typical online gamer. The reason for this is because these groups of people and scholars will have the profile to be relatable to the current budding esports enthusiasts in the industry.
And with this, we'll be introducing to you the Garena Gaming Pro Scholarship, GGP for short, and we'll be offering these scholarships to university and college students in Southeast Asia countries of up to 30 scholarships a year. We'll be covering full tuition fees as well as sponsorship to competition. And in return, our candidates will have to possess good academic grades as well as strong passion and skills in esports. So with this, Garena can increase the awareness that there are esports talents out there who also possess good academic grades.
With this, we now dive into the details of the Garena Gaming Pro Scholarship. And firstly, we look at the selection process, which will comprise a three-stage interview process. This process is aimed to firstly identify candidates with outstanding academic capabilities, and secondly, the shortlisted candidates will then go through a round of final assessment where they will go through live gaming sessions to establish their gaming capabilities as well.
And after identifying our scholars, we'll be training them, and firstly hiring retired pro players in esports as coaches. Secondly, setting up training centers for our scholars, and then teaming with them and sending them for competitions. So scholars will meet the high standard that Garena sets, and also receive training and support in their esports career in return.
So after we create this scholarship program, we must also ensure the marketability of this scholarship. Therefore, we will go through means such as live broadcasts as well as documentaries to establish hype for this scholarship program such that the community understands what we are doing to build esports. As a result, firstly, in the selection process, the live gaming sessions of our candidates will be broadcasted on gaming platforms such as Twitch TV, and as well as other social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube.
And next, we have a scholar documentary which will document the personal, school, and professional lives of our scholar, and the stories will be made relatable to our target audiences.
To go into more details of the scholar documentary, The scholars' documentary will showcase the training as well as competition gone through by the scholars. They will also showcase other aspects of their school life and other interests. The main aim of this is to dismiss the negative perception of esports currently, and most importantly, to show that esports and academics can go hand in hand.
And the channels that will be used to broadcast this documentary is firstly YouTube channels such as Vice channel, as well as League of Legends esports channel. And next we have social media platforms such as Garena Facebook pages and its mobile app. Lastly, our other promotional tactics that we can adopt along the way will be interviews and updates on our scholar. All in all, the GGP scholarship will be able to dispel the negative perception that Southeast Asians have towards online gaming.
Now we move on to our second key issue, which is how do we convert leisure gamers to esports enthusiasts. Therefore, we would launch our second strategy of watch more, which is getting players to watch more esports by establishing personal connections.
So let's take a first look at what exactly is an esports enthusiast. There are three key characteristics. First of all, they have a strong interest in esports, in which they enjoy playing the game, and they have a strong desire to improve. Secondly, they have personal connections with professional gamers who they deem as their personal idols, and they follow specific gaming teams.
Thirdly, another characteristic is that all these esports enthusiasts have a competitive aspect embedded in them, which means that they keep up to date with the leagues as well as understand teams as well as the competition landscape.
So the question here then is, how exactly are we going to convert the leisure gamers to become esports enthusiasts? On the first point here, you can see that both leisure gamers and esports enthusiasts share a strong interest in gaming. However, that is where the similarity ends. Two key differences actually separate these two groups of gamers. First of all, the leisure gamer actually does not have loyalty to specific games or teams, and they also play merely for entertainment purposes.
On the other hand, the esports enthusiasts follow professional gamers and teams, as well as gain gaming insights through professional gamers. Therefore, in order to convert leisure gamers to esports enthusiasts, we must first bypass two hurdles, which is firstly, the lack of personal connection, and secondly, the unawareness of how to improve. Therefore, Garena needs to tackle these two hurdles for a successful conversion.
Let us first take a look at the aspect of the lack of personal connection among leisure gamers. So our strategy will entail two steps. The first step will actually feature the well-known players through League of Legends, for example, in which they will actually demonstrate how to play the new characters in the coming week. And second, we'll actually feature the competitive teams and the personal stories of each player. And this will actually establish the relatedness of these players to the leisure games.
Next, we also aim to reduce the lack of personal connection by getting the viewership of esports games to be viewed more frequently. We will therefore implement a viewership goal unlock challenge, which will incentivize esports enthusiasts to encourage leisure gamers to join them in watching these games, given that now the viewers will be able to receive exclusive in-game items during watching the game. Therefore, this challenge will foster the gaming community as well as encourage more leisure gamers to follow esports.
So to tackle the second aspect of the lack of awareness among the leisure gamers in terms of how they improve, we actually have a two-step process. So the first step in which we actually do this is organize community gaming events, and we will call these the Garena viewing parties. So the key idea here is that we actually feature prominent players that actually watch the live matches along with the typical leisure gamers.
And these prominent players will then be able to provide analysis as well as commentary as to how these games are progressing, as well as give insights as to how gameplay could be improved. Therefore, leisure gamers watching this or taking part in this event will be able to improve their gameplay and ultimately increase their interest in the game.
And secondly, we'll actually provide gamers with additional information platforms for them to actually improve the skills in terms of their knowledge. So we actually have an online review of matches in which we'll feature the top 5 highlights of the game in terms of the best move that the players actually make. And we'll actually feature the best players of each match, in which these leisure gamers can thereafter follow them and watch their subsequent matches.
Moreover, we also create a game strategy guide which will be published on Garena Plus, and this will include an open source item build and skill build to allow players to improve their gameplay. Gamers can also upvote and comment on strategies currently being used frequently during their matches. Therefore, this will increase the performance of gamers as well as increase their interest to the game. Now we move on to our third and last key issue, which is how can Garena increase the conversion of its most popular game, the League of Legends. And therefore we introduce our third strategy, buy more, which is to get enthusiasts to buy more by introducing a League of Legends premium account.
As many of you know, League of Legends is actually the most played game in the world, and it's Garena's most popular game as well. And its success is mainly due to the localization of characters and the gameplay in which gamers actually feel an attachment to.
However, the key problem now is that for the League of Legends, the average revenue per user is much lower than the average free-to-play game, as can be seen from the League of Legends having $1.30 versus the average of $2.20. So, despite the strong localization efforts, League of Legends has not reaped the full potential of its monetization.
Let's take a look at the monetization model of League of Legends in this instance to better understand the problem. So we see that when gamers actually use a cash, they actually receive the Garena currency known as Garena shells, and these Garena shells can be used to convert into currencies specific to the game. So in this case, for League of Legends, the currencies are called Riot Points. So gamers then use Riot Points to actually conduct microtransactions in which they purchase various items such as new champions or new characters, new skins, and new avatars.
The key problem here is that now for the League of Legends, non-paying gamers do get 10 free champions that are rotated every week. Therefore, many of the game purchases that League of Legends players have now are not integral to the gameplay, thereby there is a low conversion rate.
So, bearing these problems in mind, we introduce to you our strategy of the League of Legends premium account. This entails 3 aspects. So the first aspect is the 10 plus 3 champion rotation add-on. So what this means is that premium users can then select 3 champions in which they can own. And the current gameplay is as follows. Users are actually limited to 10 champions which can play for free, and they are actually rotated. And this actually only engages users who actually are willing to spend up to $5 each on a few champions.
With the new gameplay, we will still retain the 10 hero rotation that is currently being used. However, we'll add an additional layer on that, and users can now own up to 3 champions at a time and rotate these 3 champions weekly. Therefore, this 10 plus 3 champion rotation add-on will actually attract many users who do not want to purchase individual champions every time.
The second aspect of the League of Legends premium account is that we actually have exclusive and discounted avatar skins and items. From the chart in the middle of the screen here, you can see that the most popular game purchases include avatar cosmetics and skins, champion unlocks, and discount packages.
Therefore, we would definitely have these 3 items within our League of Legends premium account by implementing exclusive purchase of rare avatar and skins, as well as discounted items such as to attract esports enthusiasts to the game.
So the third and final aspect of the League of Legends premium account is the trading marketplace. And with the launch of the League of Legends premium account, gamers can actually own up to 3 champions, and thereafter they can actually have the option to change that. So there comes the need for them to actually have the frequent option, trade skins, and avatars for the new characters with other players.
Moreover, with this trading platform, players can now find the best deals for items as well as collectibles from other players, and this trading platform will become an integral part of the gameplay as well as improve interactivity between players. Moreover, we will see now we need to determine how do these players attain this premium account. Therefore, what we see is that as long as a player spends $10, they will be immediately upgraded to a premium account.
So, summing up these 3 strategies, we look at our implementation timeline. For our first strategy, we actually intend to offer the Garena Gaming Pro Scholarship on the start of 2016, and thereafter market them in the later half of the year. For our second strategy, we actually want to feature the well-known teams and players as soon as possible. And for our last strategy, we actually conduct the beta testing of the League of Legends premium account from 2016 and intend to launch it in 2017.
Now, let's move on to look at the financial impact of our 3 strategies on Garena. Let's take a look at the scenario whereby there are no strategies implemented. We believe that Garena can achieve a revenue growth of 6% CAGR over the next 5 years. However, if we were to implement our 3 strategies, we were to get a CAGR uplift to 24%, and this will actually improve Garena's revenue growth substantially.
In conclusion, our team today has presented you to three key strategies that actually of the very essence of what the gamer does. We want the gamer to play more, we want them to watch more, and we want them to buy more. And with these 3 strategies in mind, we believe that Garena will be able to obtain a triple kill in this gaming arena and become the dominant player and maintain its leadership in this industry. Thank you.
Okay, I'll start. Can you first ask the team, what is your perceived, what do you think that we asked you to present? What was the question presented to you?
Okay, so from what me and my team have determined after analyzing the case, that there is actually a negative stigma for esports within the region that is inhibiting the growth of esports as a legitimate sport. So from there, we actually analyzed how we can actually remove this negative stigma and the impact that this will actually have on Garena. And therefore, from our situation analysis, we actually determined that by removing this negative perception, we can convert more gamers to leisure gamers, and then we need to do more to actually convert these leisure gamers to esports enthusiasts who are into online gaming. Yeah.
Sure. I appreciate the business advice, but then I believe you spend 1/3 of your time on a business model, how to make more money. So I don't understand how that made its way into your presentation. Like making more money in the game is very nice, thank you. But how is that related to the question? It says here we want to accelerate the recognition of esports as a professional sport in Southeast Asia. Like, I don't see anything that says how do you make more money.
So definitely we want to improve esports as a legitimate sport in Southeast Asia, and that's where our first strategy kicks in, which is to actually bring esports to the forefront with our scholarship program.
Yeah, in addition to this, we also added the revenue aspect, because we felt that the reason why Garena has a feel to want to elevate what esports is in the industry, because they feel that this is an important growth strategy for them. With the elevation of esports, they can then achieve more revenues through the use of events, for example, where gaming companies which organize such events actually gain a large amount of revenue through sponsorships.
So is the assumption that we will always have to subsidize esports through other means, as say through the game itself? That's why you're so concerned that we need to make more money in order to feed esports?
We feel at this point in time we are more focused on awareness. So at this point in time, you are right to say that we are still in a way subsidizing esports. But eventually, with the awareness that we can establish through our strategies, this may not be so in the future.
Specifically the scholarship program, right? I want to better understand how you believe it will address the negative perception, particularly through, let's say, the use of a actual reality program to address the problems of addiction, violence, and non-transferable skills. Because if you will tune into this program, what will you see? I believe you see this player playing the game a lot. I believe you still see the player blowing stuff up, because that's what happens in the game. And I'm not sure what transferable skills the person will have, because I'm not sure what scholarship criteria is involved. If let's say his time is spent on playing the game and getting better at it because he hired a coach to coach him and he knows what he's going to do, I don't see how any of this is going to be fixed through the introduction of your program.
Okay, so I'll handle the second question of what we actually expect to see during the documentary that will actually remove this negative perception. So definitely when we actually select scholars, we definitely select these people who have good academic records as well as have a passion and the ability to play esports well. So when we do this documentary, we actually focus on these two aspects rather than just focusing on him being a full-time or training a lot for esports. And why we think that this scholars program will actually work very well in Southeast Asia, because there's actually a lot of there's perception that people look up to role models. And therefore, using this perception, we hope to change the negative perception of online gaming in Southeast Asia.
To add on to my team's point, the reason why there's this perception in Southeast Asia that esports promotes violence or no transferable skills is because of the media, what the media portrays, and what actually happens around the world, where some Koreans actually play esports until they actually die on the spot, or they attack people just to get money to play the game more. And there's not enough coverage on what the majority of other people who play these games and actually do excel in other aspects of their lives as well.
Just one short question. Who and how many of you are a gamer?
To answer your question, we three of us used to be gamers, but we are software.
I have another point. Inside your presentation, you talked a lot about like how watching the games, there's a lot of emphasis on getting people to learn how to become better at the game, and that seems to be a assumed purpose of watching. So, let me ask, like, and in terms of say, I watch it and I go and pay some more, and then spend money, right? There's no certain amount of watching that goes on. So if you look at the real world, right, people that do watch sports, let's say your average football fan, is he watching to get better at football? And also like what do they actually aim to get out of it? I don't believe a lot of people that watch football or basketball actually, intend to then spend 20 hours on the court that mastering that one particular move, right? Nor are they looking to, just do a lot with it professionally, right? They are looking at it as entertainment. They watch it because they enjoy it. So, I'm not sure that was really understood.
To answer the question, I understand that sports, many of them actually, for instance, for soccer, when they actually watch it, they actually learn, see the moves that, let's say, Cristiano Ronaldo actually takes in terms of, let's say, a bicycle kick, and they try to emulate that. So, however, in the gaming context, it's a little bit more complicated, in the sense that you may not actually know, as the game is actually very fast-paced, you may not actually know what's going on in every step of the process. And you actually want to realize strategy. So let's say you have a 5-on-5 game match in which all 5 meet at the same time. You want to understand how this character supports the hero, or this character will actually be the tanker in the sense in which it absorbs all the damage. So these are new strategies that can be explored by doing online. So it's a little bit different as compared to sports where you may not, the tactics are very much similar. As compared to esports where the tactics are very much complicated in which you can change all the time and you have different characters. Yeah, so this is where gamers actually learn new strategies to actually improve.
But I think you're also right to say that they don't only watch just because they want to improve themselves. That's why we are actually focusing on having an emotional attachment to the teams themselves. And that is actually what sports actually focuses on, where people feel a relation and a certain sense of belonging to a team such that they feel strongly for a team when they play in a competition. And similarly, that is what we aim to do. We aim to get people to recognize the players and the teams, and overall they can then have emotional connection. And when these teams actually compete in any of the leagues, they then tend to follow and want to learn how they're doing in the competitive landscape of esports.
I have some notice. So all of your strategy is try to encourage the user and to get involved more and more, right? But there is no proactive from Garena side,
You mentioned the live event, which is the GPL, the Garena Premier League. Yep, so that is one of the hallmarks of Garena's events currently, and they have really started to increase the frequency to now 2 times, which is one summer and one winter or spring. So we did not go in that angle, the same angle that what Garena has taken, because we feel that that's something that they have done very well, they've monetized it very well, and given them that this channel can, this channel is performing optimally currently. So what we did was to look at what was not performing optimally now, which is basically the conversion rate. And the reason why we have a number of 10% was during the initial case opening, we actually did ask one of Garena's directors, like CFO, that he mentioned that now only 10% of people are paying gamers in Garena, and that's why we felt that that's something that's important to tackle, and we did so with our third strategy of buying more.
Is there any other questions from our judges?
Follow up to Kuntaraj's question then. Why did you stop playing? Was it you? Was it your parents? What was the reason?
So I'll answer the question personally. For me, it's because like what you mentioned, there's a lot of negative perception about online gaming. So when I was around 16 to 17, my parents actually stopped me from playing, given that they had the perception that all these things will be detrimental to my studies. And that's one of the reasons we came up with this scholarship program, because we thought about what happened in our lives, and I mean, for me, it was really negative perception that stopped me from playing. So we hope that with this scholarship program, parents can actually view it as something that's not detrimental to studies, and at that young age, most of the time, parents are the ones that determine whether or not you have to play or you have to stop. So that's why I stopped playing.
So what do you think if, going back to when you were 16, 17, if there was a scholarship in place, your parents would let you to continue to play? Or do you think that's enough of a incentive or like to change their perception?
Okay, so in terms of whether my parents allowed me to play, I can't say concretely, but we can take a case study from Singapore. So last time, 10 years back, there were no sports scholarships around. There are very little sports scholarships around Singapore, and most people just focus on studies. But when the government stepped in to start to implement sports scholarships to allow students who were maybe not as academically inclined to get into top schools based on sporting programs, there was a sudden shift in emphasis from just being good in academics to being all-rounder in just academics and sports. So if we use that as a case study, you can see that if we were to implement this scholarship program and we give it enough publicity, then this might actually change the perception of society, and definitely it will not happen overnight, but over the long run, I believe that it will serve its intended effect.